Welcome to this YouTube video where we're looking at calculations involving semi-solid preparation. And so in this playlist, you'll see a blend of topics that will come out at some point with semi-solid calculation. We're looking at alligation alternate. The playlist before this will have alligation medial. Now, what's alligation alternate? It applies to when mixing mixtures of two or more, knowing the strength, and of course you're trying to solve the quantities and the proportion that you need to mix them with. Now, for it to occur, for alligation alternative to be practical, you need to know the desired strength. That's something which has to be requested of you. Now, the strength should be between the individual strength of the ingredients. So if it's a pure drug and a diluent, the concentration, the pure drug is 100%, the diluent is 0%, because there's no drug in the diluent, so it's 0%. So you can use pure powder and a diluent to make any ointment or cream with a concentration between 0 and 100. That's the thought process. The answer option from setting up the alligation alternate diagram represents the parts to be weighed. And so your answer is in parts. And so that is why one of the playlists in this video dealt with reading formulation in parts. Go back and look at that video if you need a little bit of refresher. But let's go. Now, here when you're setting up the alligation diagram, there's really like three columns, theoretical columns. There's a percentage of what's given on your left, which probably is your right. A and B is what's given. C in the middle is what you desire. And the proportional parts, how to mix them, the ratio in which they're to be mixed is given as X and Y. And that's what you need to solve to do your calculation. So let's look at this. In what proportion should benzoic acid ointment, 20%, be mixed with an ointment base? Remember, the ointment base will be 0% because there's no drug in it, to give you a 2.5% benzocaine ointment. Let's look at what our table will look like. 20% goes at the top, and students may say, Miss, can I put the 20% at the bottom, the 0 at the top? I go by what the textbook have. I think the Can and Ready textbook put the 0 at the top. As long as your calculation makes sense, just make sure it makes sense to you. The 20% at the top, which is A, what is given. The 0% B, what's given. The ointment base, the stock ointment. Now, the desired is 2.5. That is C. So we are duplicating this table, the theoretical column so this is column 1, column 2. And so we subtract across. Let me put in all the arrows. There we go. So to get the box, to right here, we'll say 2.5 minus 0, which is 2.5, but your answer would be parts. So 2.5 parts, and how you read is diagonal, across, horizontal. Yeah, diagonal is a subtraction, you're reading horizontal. So this 2.5% is of the 20% ointment. So you read across in your answer. And I've seen it over and over where students set up their diagrams right, but because they fail to put what the parts represent, they get the wrong answer. So please populate what the parts, 2.5 parts is 20% ointment. Then now to get Y, so that is X, to get Y, it will be 20 minus 2.5 now to give you 17.5 parts of the ointment base. So you read it across your answer. And so whenever you're setting up so alligation diagram gives you the parts that you are to combine the ingredients with to make your ointment, and then you use ratio and proportion or dimensional analysis to solve the actual quantities. So this is telling us from the alligation alternate table that 2.5 parts of benzoic acid 20% ointment is to be mixed with 17 parts of the ointment base, which has no drug, hence 0, but we don't write 0%, we just leave it blank. So the total parts is 20 grams. So remember what I told you in the video about parts? If the prescription asks you for 500 grams of this ointment, the 500 grams is equal to the 20 parts. Okay? If it asks you for 250 grams, the 250 grams becomes 20 parts. So you can either solve it by solving what one part would represent, or you use a dimensional analysis. Let's look at it. Right? So what if they asked us for 40 grams of ointment? Really simple. The 20 parts becomes the 40 gram, so 2.5 is x. And you cross multiply, make x the subject, you're getting 5 grams right here. If the ointment base now, you'd say 17.5% over 20 times 40 give you 35 grams. Again, your new formula, always check it to make sure it adds up to the total. So 5 grams of benzoic acid is to be mixed with 35 grams of the ointment base to give us 40 grams of a product made using Alligation alternate. Now, I love to prove. Over the years, my math anxiety has gone a little bit, a lot, because I love to prove what I've done. Let us prove what we have done using ratio and proportion or dimensional analysis. So the prescription asks for 40 grams of 2.5% ointment. What does that mean? Let's unpack it. It means that 2.5 grams of the drug will be in every 100 grams. That's what percentage mean. So therefore, how much do I need for a 40 gram product? I need 1 gram of benzoic acid to make this 40 gram product. But the benzoic acid is coming from the 20% stock. Remember, we did calculations to prove what is being carried by stock? Let's see. Let's see how much is being carried by the stock. 20% means 20 grams would have been in every 100 grams of this stock, but we're using a fixed amount of 5 grams. So 20 over 100 times 5 is 1 gram. So we have successfully proven that the benzoic acid 20% ointment is carrying in it, in the 5 gram aliquot that we're going to weigh off, is carrying 1 gram. And we have proven that 1 gram in 40 grams will make a 2.5% product. So I always, if time allows me in assessments, I always use my ratio and proportion or dimensional analysis to prove if my allegation is right. Some students will say, Miss, we don't have time for that. But sometimes you do have time. You may never know. All right? Because this is really 1, 2, 3 steps. 3 steps to secure getting full scores on your assessment. It's worth the time. So that brings us to the end of this recording where I demonstrate how to use Alligation alternate to solve a semi-solid question. Today, you have effectively gone through how to write your columns, percentage given, column 1, desire, column 2, and the proportion or parts that they're to mix them with. With that said, if this video has been beneficial, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel while I develop more content like this for you. Thank you.